I'm all the way up. That's having an E there, G30. I'll have to have all the alphabet there for the excuses Muslims make. So unfortunately, my live had to. They yeah. Unfortunately, we all know what happens when it comes to Islam. That's what happens when you start to go live and all of a sudden, let me just see if you, okay. So, dude, I'm going to see if I can find you on the YouTube so I can give you mod on there. I need to find out, where do I find? Okay, guys, and unfortunately, apologies for the me getting dropped. Okay, beautiful. For me having to end the live again, you know. Sometimes they don't want us to continue with this these lives. So what do? They try their best, but it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. They can do their best, but it's just not gonna happen. So let me just set this up and check it out. We're going to get back to this topic, guys. The topic is, it's a simple, easy peasy pudding and pie. Muhammad is the one we're going to talk about today. And as usual, we're going to bring the evidence. The evidence is going to be the thing that we need to prove what we say to be true. So again, unfortunately, we had to, thank you, bro, dude, I got you. So what we're going to see now is that according to what we see when it comes to Islam, is that if I was to invite people to Islam, you'd notice that as a Muslim, I would, yes, you have. So I would never use 434, 424, 465, 4, because it doesn't seem as though this will bring people to Islam. So what I'm doing effectively is I'm lying to people, hiding it, what it says. Okay, so again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that Muslims join, and after the Muslims join, we will, again, we're doing this because we want to see if Islam is compatible. We want to see if Islam is compatible and whether Muslims are being honest about it. So if you guys can, for me, please tap and share, tappity tap and share. And while you're doing that, let me just, what I'll do is, unfortunately, it ended, unfortunately, but they can say and do what they want. They can say and do what they want, but we know for facts that they cannot stop us. They can't stop us, guys. So because of this topic, we're going to have to take Muslims to school. We're going to have to say to them, listen, why don't you guys lead with this? When you're doing dawah and you're saying, come to Islam, Jesus was a Muslim, why do you guys stop there? Why don't you say, and guys, it's okay because in Islam, you can discipline your wives. And in Islam, guys, it's okay to marry a prepubescent. The best example, guys, the best example to mankind did it. So sure as day, you guys can do it as well. Notice, you'll never find any Muslim starting with that. You know what I'm saying? You'll never find them starting with that. To Chris Oakley, if you're listening, thank you so much for what you sent me. Thank you on the email. Thank you, bro. I will sort that out after the live. Just need to do some checking on some stuff. But again, the topic isn't a difficult one. If there's any Muslim that wants to come up and make it make sense, and I'm as I said, guys, I have decided that sometimes well, let me say this. If I give them, if I remind them that they're lying, then they'll, stop. So what we should do now is allow Muslims to continue with their falsehood, because again, we have the verses in front of us. We are able to read the verses to see what the verses are teaching and what the verses are saying. So all we got to do is just repeat it. Now, I don't need to have 10,000 people in my life. This is where the Muslims make a mistake by thinking that they're boycotting lives or they're stopping people from coming to lives or whatever. These, I can say, are called educational videos. Educational videos, because as an educational video, we are able to also go through certain things that Muslims otherwise don't want us to talk about. So if there's no one that wants to join in, that no Muslim, then I'm going to read you guys from so I'm sorry, I'm just trying to send a message to someone, but anyways. So let's look at 65:4, something that people don't know and people don't talk about. In the Quran teaches you that you can divorce a girl even before she had a menstruation. Now, trying to understand or explain, we have to first understand the reason for the divorce. Remember, she's married, so now we have to understand what the divorce is. So the iddah, the waiting period, is to make sure that she's not pregnant, so there will be no confusion on who the father of the child is if the woman were to remarry and get pregnant. Now, that's a good thing. I don't want to marry a woman and then she's like 6 months, 2 months later, she's like, I'm pregnant and I'm 3 months pregnant. I'm like, what do you mean? So give her a chance to find out. Also, to help couples, families, and communities understand the gravity and sanctity of marriage. So we know in other cases of divorces that will tell you that the waiting period provides time for reconciliation. So, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, man, I was just talking out of anger. Let me get back with you, yada, yada, let's join. So, yeah. So when it comes to the first verse regarding the waiting period, that again, we spoke about was Surah 33:49, where it says, "O you believers, when you marry believing women and then divorce them before you've touched them, there's no waiting period." So now we know there's no waiting period because there's no chance of her being pregnant. No chance of her being pregnant, so it's all good. So it's crystal clear logic. We understand that. Now, in the Quran as well, there's some weird things because it still talks about the chapter of divorce or divorcing. In chapter 2, verse 228, this time the Quran regulates the periods for women who have had the JJ dingy dingy. And this says, divorced women shall wait by themselves for 3 periods. And it is not lawful for them to hide what God has created in their wombs, if they believe in God in the last day. In such time, their mates have a better right to restore them if they desire to set things right. So I divorce you, and then you find out that you're pregnant, and the husband's like, you know what, man, for the sake of the child, we're going to try again, yada, yada. She can't hide it. So in such times, their mates have the better right to restore them if they desire to do the right thing. So it's the man that decides, not the woman. So women have such honorable rights as obligations, but their men have a degree above them. Surah 2, 228. So the man is still going to decide. He's like, you know what, I'm not sure if I want you or not. I'm not sure, but it's up to me, not up to you. So she can't go back and say, take me back, man, I'm pregnant. You take me back. It's up to him. It's up to him. Now, the verse that we're talking about with regards to 65:4 says, and for those of your women who have despaired of further menstruation, if you are in doubt, their period shall be 3 months, and those who have not menstruated as yet. Right? So it's crystal clear. It's talking about those that have not menstruated as yet. Now, the Arabic words are extremely important because the word is lam. Lam is something that hasn't happened yet, but it could happen in the future. Right? So now we know that Lam is saying clearly, not yet, but maybe later. So now we can see that according to the verse of the Quran, when it comes to 65:4, it's telling us clearly what is what they're talking about. Now, Al-Tabari says regarding this, he says, Ubay ibn Ka'b, or Messenger of Allah, that the waiting period of the young and adult woman were not mentioned in the book. So notice it's talking about the young and the adult woman are not mentioned in the book. So Tabari says, and then Allah revealed. So Allah, he sits there, man, he's like, as soon as someone talks about dingy, his ears like get hot and he's, shaking up and he's like, hang on a second. Now they want an answer. Let me give them an answer. See, you guys are praying for peace. You guys are praying for a job. You guys are praying for Allah. God, no ears for you. No ears for you. But if Muhammad talks about dingy and who he can penetrate, Allah's like, I'm here. You guys thought I was busy, but I'm here. I gotcha. You want to sleep with adults and children? I gotcha. You want to marry them? I gotcha. So now we can see that the God of Islam is listening and waiting, because the Sahaba are like, hey man, your God forgot about the young ones too. And Allah's like, gotcha. So you can marry and divorce these women. And also after you penetrated them. So it goes on and says, and those who have despaired of marriage at menstruation, among your women, and if you're doubtful, their waiting period is 3 months, yada yada. Now, according to hate speech, again, never mind. Sorry guys, I just got 3 appeals to appeal. I gotta appeal. You can't make this up. You cannot make it up. Okay, so we're going to get now to see what the Asbab Nuzul is, the reason for revelation. What was the reason for revelation? Nearly done, just sending a new couple of more applications, not approved. So anyway, so let's look at the reason, right? Let's look at the reason. It's Satan's way, Satan's way of stopping truth from coming forth. The only way to stop truth is to close the mouth of the person speaking. Notice that I've said it before, and before the live abruptly ended, I said it before and I'll say it again. The Muslims aren't angry with me. The Muslims aren't angry with Christians. The Muslims aren't angry that we exist. No. They are angry that we've learned how to read. The Muslims are angry that we are able to actually pick up their books and then read it. And the funny thing is, when we read it, like 434, 424, 65:4, it tells us clearly, none of us will ever take the Shahada because it's so demonic. One second again. So because it's so demonic, they know that ain't no way that we will ever want to take this religion seriously, because we can see that it's not the fruits of God. That's why they're upset. But anyway, let's keep going. So there's Baba Nuzul, the reason for revelation, is saying this. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. When the waiting period for the divorced and widowed women was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ubay ibn Ka'b said, Messenger of Allah, some women of Medina are saying there are other women who have not been mentioned. He asked him, who are they? He said, the young and the old and the pregnant. The young, the old, and the pregnant. And so the verse, and such for your woman as despair of menstruation, was revealed. Right? So now we're getting somewhere, because now we can see this is Wahidis as Baba Nuzul when it came to this verse. Now we're going to see what the Muslim commentators say about this. The Muslim commentators, are they in agreement with you and I that the Quran is teaching you can marry prepubescent girls, or is it going, against us? Is other Muslims the people that come on these lives and tell us that we are making things up? Let's see whether it's true or not. So we've got a guy called Mujahid ibn Jabbar, right? And it says this. He says, if you do not know whether she menstruated or not, then the woman who has stopped menstruating and the one who has not yet, their waiting period is 3 months. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this guy, give me a second and I'll tell you when he lived, because I forgot to, I don't have it with me right now. And let's see, who was this guy? So he lived in 642, he was born in 642 and passed away in 722. So he is 10 years after Muhammad passed away, this guy was born. So he knows all this stuff. This is someone that was there with the Sahaba immediately after Muhammad kicked the bucket. So this dude is someone that we can go to and use because he lived so close to the time of Muhammad and he lived with the Sahaba. That's what he says. Then there's another guy, and I'll tell you who he is. It's Abd Dahak bi Muzahim al-Balkahi. I think I said it wrong, but who cares? You know what I mean. When did he live? Let's see. This guy also, he passed away in 723 and 105 years after the Hijrah. So he was a figure in the early Islamic scholarship. So this guy as well, early scholarship. He says he's a prominent 8th century scholar from the generation of the Tabi'in, the successors, known for his significant contributions to the Quranic exegesis, tafsirs, hadith, and Islamic jurisprudence. Man, let's see what this dude says, because, I mean, he's like a big dude. I mean, this dude is big. He's up there. So it says this. On the authority of blah, 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 yada, 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 and those who despaired of menstruation amongst your women, he says, the rules regarding women and those who have not menstruated yet, they are not old enough, not reached puberty. Not reached puberty. You guys see that? So this guy, who is now a scholar of Islam, let me read it again. He is a prominent 8th century scholar from the generation of the Tabi'in, the successors, known for his significant contributions to Quranic exegesis, tafsirs, hadith, and Islamic jurisprudence. He says clearly, those that are not old enough, not reached puberty. Tap and share, guys. Likety, like, please tap and share. So now we've got this guy confirming that those that have not yet reached puberty are the people mentioned. These are the ones mentioned. Now we're going to go to another dude. Another one. Let's see. This is called Qatada bi Dayma al-Basri. Let's see who this person was. Let's see who this person was. Qatada, he was a prominent Tabai, esteemed Mufassir, Quran commentator, and Muhud hadith collector based in Basra. And he was born he passed away in 735. Again, around just after the time of Muhammad. So he was born in 61 after Hijrah. 61. So he's not much later than, he's close. Let's see what he says. He was born between 60 and he passed away, say 170 years later. He says, and those who despaired of menstruation among your women, and they are those who have not yet menstruated. So now, guys, look what I'm doing. I'm reading you from the earliest scholars of Islam, confirming what they thought of the verse, not even 50 years after Muhammad. 30 years after Muhammad, these people kicked in. I mean, these people were alive. Another one is talking about, this is Ismail Abd al-Rahman al-Sudi. He also says, and those who have not menstruated are maids, young girls. Then you've got Muqatil Ibn Sulaiman, 80 years after Muhammad to 150. He says, young girls who do not menstruate yet, and they had dingy. Abd al-Rahman bin Zayd bin Aslam says, and God made his mercy also on those who did not yet menstruate, the young girls. Then you've got Bukhari, Sahih Bukhari, page 256. Same chapter that we saw yesterday with either Christian Sheikh or with Rob Christian, that says, by the virtue of the statement, remember the chapter heading is called Giving One's Young Children in Marriage. That's the chapter heading, Giving One's Young Children in Marriage. I hope this is educational. I hope you guys are going to go back and share these things, because again, all I'm doing is showing you guys. I'm just reading. This is the life of the people after Muhammad and how they experienced it. I saw King Drake in the house. God bless you, my man. God bless you. Everyone else that's in there, please tap and share. Tappity tap. If you guys can, please just also, the YouTube is called The Agents 007. The Agents 007. So please, follow me there as well. Let's keep reading. So now we can see, Ibn al-Bukhari says, giving one's young children in marriage is permissible by the virtue of the statement of Allah, and those who have no monthly courses, i.e. still immature. Then you got Ibn Jarir al-Tabari. Al-Tabari says, the same applies for the iddah for girls who do not menstruate because they are too young, if their husbands divorce them after consummating the marriage with them. So these girls that are too young, immature, are now getting divorced. Please note, guys, I'm giving you guys the names, the people, and what they are saying. I didn't say it. King Drake didn't say it. God Logic didn't say it. David Wood didn't say this. None of the stuff that I'm repeating now is me saying this. I am just repeating it. The Muslims don't want us to repeat things like this because they want to tell you that this is talking about a special type of girl. Oh, she just had late menstruation. She was about 18 years old. No, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. We are the ones being honest, giving you what the Tabarin, what the earliest Mufassirin are saying. This is the earliest people after Muhammad confirming what we are repeating. All we do is just repeat. That's it. You want to get mad with me? That's your problem, not mine. Not me. That is your problem. So let's look at some more. Let's go and read some more. Because all we do, we just go read. And notice, guys, if Muslims say the opposite of what these people are saying, then somebody's lying. Is it me that's lying? The Mufassirs that's lying, the teachers of Islam, or are the Muslims of 2026? We just go and read. So now we saw that even according to Al-Tabari, it's talking about those that are too young. Then you've got Ibn Masud al-Maturidi. He says, it is proven that what is meant is, if you doubt the waiting period in the menopause and the young, notice, it's gone to the two extremes. It's gone to the old and the young. Then this is 3 months. And he says, Allah knows best. Al-Tabarani, he says, and those who have not menstruated means those who are young. Notice that I am just reading. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to read. Then we've got another one called Abu al-Layth al-Samarkandi, Kandi, 375. He says, blah, 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 said, "Oh Allah, O Messenger of Allah, if a woman in her menopause is in her menopause and does not menstruate, what is her waiting period? And those who did not menstruate among your women," meaning that she reached 60 years old, and he said 50 years old. If in doubt, if you aren't sure about their waiting period should be 3 months. And another man said, if she is young, do what's her waiting period? And another said, if she was pregnant, then what is her waiting period? Because it says, and those who have not yet menstruated. It means women who did not menstruate. Al-Talabi, he says it means the young girls. Mawardi, he says, and those who have not menstruated, meaning those waiting period is 3 months. So he made for every menstruation a month, because it's generally joins menstruation. Purification, Bagwadi, Bagawi, sorry, my mistake. Bagawi says, and those who have not menstruated yet, meaning the young ones who did not menstruate. Notice again, we are going from as soon as Muhammad passed away, now we 530 years later. We've got Zamaskashari, 538. He says, these are the young ones. The Maliki school of thought says, now we're getting to the juicy part of the meat, because now we're going to go through the different schools as well. So the different schools are teaching us what? The Malikis are saying, this is what the Maliki school teaches. He says that, and those who have not menstruated yet is evidence that a man can arrange the marriage for his young child. So those that have not yet menstruated, Maliki school says that this is for the young child. And as Allah has appointed the iddah of the one who has not yet menstruated from the woman to be 3 months, and there is no iddah upon her except in the case of marriage. So if the young child is married and does dingy, 3 months. That's the Maliki. Then you've got Tabarasi, 548, the year 548. He says, those who didn't get their menstruation, if they're doubtful about their waiting period, it's 3 months, as well as those who didn't reach puberty yet. Notice, I am building this entire thing on the entire school of Islamic thought. I started at the bottom just after Muhammad, and I'm taking us closer to 2026. This is what happens when you do research. This is what happens when a Christian has to teach a Muslim on, this is what happens when a Christian has to teach a Muslim what this verse actually means. Let's go to Al-Razi, the year 606. That's when he passed away, after Hijrah. He says, a man got up and said, O Messenger of Allah, what is the waiting period for a young girl who did not menstruate yet? Do you notice? A young girl, not, oh, she was having her period at 18, because it's talking about those that had delayed puberty. No, it's talking clearly about prepubescent, wee ones, little ones. Now we get to the Hanbali. What does the Hanbali mean? Say, in the year 661, it says, and those who have not menstruated yet means the young, the Maliki, the Hanbali. What does Qurtubi say when it comes to this? He says, the Almighty said, meaning the young. The waiting period shall be 3 months. Thank you, Samawi. Thank you, Mommy. So all we're doing today is education. This is just an educational live stream. That's right. So now we've gone, right? Let me just do a quick back pedal over here and see. The first time we mentioned the teachings, remember the Muslim commentators, I started with Jabir in the year 103, right? So Now I'm in 500 and something because I've done the Hanbali, I've done them, I've done the Maliki. Now we're going to see what the others are teaching as well, because we need to see what, because, we need to have truth. And so far we can find truth if we continue reading, and this is the Islamic truth. So Qurtubi agrees with us as well. Then you've got Abdullah Ahmed Nasafi. This is now the year 710. He agrees and says those who have not menstruated yet are the young ones. Then you've got Al-Jilani, for those that don't know, he was 713. He says, and those who have not yet menstruated due to young age or sickness. Now, this is the first time sickness is mentioned. Notice now, 700 years later, the first time someone adds the word sickness. In other words, delayed puberty, delayed menstruation. First time now we've got Jilani confirming this. Too young or sickness. Now the Muslims will fast forward to this and say it's because of sickness. This is the reason why this is delayed puberty. And this is who it's talking about. So it's a special case. But again, you know what I'm saying. I just want to send a quick message. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Ali ibn Muhammad al-Kazain, 725. And he says, and those who have not menstruated yet, meaning the young ones who didn't menstruate. The young ones, there's nothing like the young ones. For you and me and everybody, the young ones. There's nothing like the young ones. Man, that song must have been made for the Muslims, man. It must have been made for the Muslims. That's right. Keep tapping and sharing. Now, Abu Hayyan, he also says, again, he says, and those who have not menstruated yet denotes those not menstruated because of being young. Notice again. Then we go to Ibn Kathir. My goodness, does Ibn Kathir also say it? Let's see what he says. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their waiting period is 3 months. Guys, I hope you guys see how we've moved now from immediately after Muhammad. We're getting closer to today. Then you've got Feiruz Abadi, 817. He says, and those who have not yet menstruated from being young, their waiting period is 3 months. Askalani, he said, he made the waiting period 3 months for those who haven't hit puberty yet, which indicates that giving her into nikah, dingy, before puberty is permissible. Note what Askalani just said. He said, and those who have not menstruated yet, he made the waiting period 3 months for those who haven't hit puberty yet, which indicates that giving her into nikah before puberty is permissible. Guys, nikah literally basically simply means to dingy. It's not to marry, it's to dingy. But anyway, now then you go to Suyuti. Al-Suyuti in the year 911 says, and as for those who have not yet menstruated, because of their young age, their period should also be 3 months. And this is in the year, 911. 911, we've moved this far. And you can see now It's not me that's making things up. That's not me that's confused. Not me that's I'm being consistent. I use the Quran, and all of these guys are agreeing with me, not with the Muhammadans. Now we go to Al-Khazaruni in the year 923. He says, and those who have not yet menstruated their young age. Then we come to the Hanafi in the year 982, and he says, and those who have not menstruated yet because of young age. Guys, don't be lied to by these people into believing that they're talking about a specific person or specific type of female or specific age group or specific. It's talking about children. Al-Shawkani in the year 1250 said, and those who have not menstruated yet are young girls who have not reached the age of menstruation. Cassini says, that is for the young girls when, because of their young age, if their husbands divorce them after consummation, then their waiting period is 3 months. Notice, guys, who's the one that is lying? It sure isn't me, because I'm repeating what these people are saying. This is what these people are saying. Al-Sadi says, and those who have not menstruated means the young who have not yet started to menstruate. Adult women who have never menstruated are like those who despair of menstruation. So again, all I'm saying to you guys is, notice that only one of us over here. Then you've got Sayyid Ibn Qutb in the year 1386. And he says, and the verses simply specify the length of the waiting period for women who have not have a monthly cycle and for the pregnant. It includes women who are past the menopause and those who have not yet have a menstrual cycle. Man, I must be, Then you got Ahmed Khan Al-Hanafi Al-Naimi in the year 1391. He says, due to childhood, their Iddah is 3 months. Guys, due to childhood, because these children are still in childhood, their Iddah is 3 months. I hope and pray that some Muslims are sitting back there questioning me, thinking, how is this guy able to go on a live and say these things without any Muslim refuting him? How is it that he can do this? Where are the knowledgeable Muslims? Why aren't we defending this? Because this can't be true. Because if it's true, then the God of Islam is saying that you can dingy with a child who is still in childhood, not adulthood. Naimi is saying that these are children, they're in childhood, and their Iddah is 3 months. That's right, Sunset. They're not even teenagers. They're not even, they still little babies, they're kids. Or we can keep on going. Then you got Muhammad Shafi Diobandi. And he says, and in the terminology of the Sharia, the term Iddah means the waiting period prescribed for a divorced woman before she can marry another man. Women who do not menstruate because they have not yet attained puberty or because they have attained menopausal age. These procedures applies in the case of yada yada yada. It does include as calculated by the menstrual cycle or clean cycles. It does not apply for women or for whom waiting period is not compulsory, as in the case of women who do not have privacy with their husband. If a man and a woman got married but did not get together in privacy, the Iddah is not necessary for her at all when she's divorced. Therefore, it is permissible to divorce such a woman during their monthly courses. Likewise, Iddah for a woman who does not menstruate on account of minority of age. My goodness, it gives you a taste of vomit in the mouth, doesn't it? What do you mean by child, says Dude for Christ, man? What is a child, man? How would you define a child? What's a childhood? Is that the part between the adulthood and the childhood? Maybe the child's a teenager then. Maybe that's the, you know. So again, Deobandi is agreeing with us. It says, likewise, either for a woman who does not menstruate on account of minority of age or because she's attained menopausal age. I want Muslims to realize that we are able to do something Muhammad couldn't. We can read. You guys said read, we read. Maududi in the year 1399 says this. And here one should bear in mind the fact that according to the explanations given in the Quran, the question for the waiting period arises in respect of women with whom marriage may have been consummated, for there is no waiting period in the case of divorce is pronounced before the consummation of marriage, 3349. Therefore, making mention of the waiting period for the girls who have not yet menstruated clearly proves that it is not only permissible to give away the girl in marriage at this age, but it is also permissible for the husband to consummate marriage with her. Now, obviously, no Muslim has the right to forbid a thing which the Quran has held permissible. So I'm hoping that we're educating some people now, because now we can see if Allah and the Quran says it, you can't go against it. That's how simple it is. You cannot go against it because 65:4 in the Quran teaches it. You have to accept it. Uthaymin, I may be saying it wrong, Ibn Uthaymin, he says, if a woman does not menstruate because she is very young or old and past menopause, then her iddah is 3 months. Very young, still in childhood, hasn't hit puberty. So, guys, what I've done is I've gone through all the sources until 1421 of all these people confirming what we just said now, because now we've got to summarize. We've got to summarize. For a summary, all of this, the Quran in verse 3349 states that no waiting period is prescribed for a woman that has not had the dingy. The man hasn't entered her, there's no waiting period. But 65:4, it's telling us that the waiting period is 3 months, meaning that this group have had the dingy with the hubbies. And this means that the Quran supports marrying and having dingy with the prepubescent girls, according to what we just read. Now, I didn't say that because you can see the commentaries by Qasimi and Maududi and Sulaiman al-Tabari. They are explicit in their explanations of what we just saw. So what does the legal school say about the marriage? And now watch this. Now we're looking at the legal schools again. To understand it, we need to look at the jurisprudence by the 4 imams: the Hanbal, the Hanafi, the Hanifa, the Malik, and the Shafi. And we have to see what these schools are teaching. And if you look at a geographical map, and the geographical map, of course, is going to show you all of these third world countries, it says that all 4 schools on the jurisprudence agree that prepubescent virgin daughters may be forced into marriage against their will by their fathers, and they'll use Surah 65:4 as the evidence. And again, we can see in this guy, he's called Ibn, let me tell you who he was first before I just need to copy that, tell you exactly who this dude was so you can see. Okay, who are you? Who are you, sir? Can you tell me who you are so that I can learn? Let's see. He says he is an Imam Ibn blah, 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 the author of the important fiqh for the Hanbali. He's an important scholar that is giving us information. He's the one that teaches us. It says over here, he's one of the foremost legal masterpieces of Islamic civilization with a superb documentation of the juristic findings of the Sunni school of Islamic law. Wow, all those titles. Oh my goodness. But what does he teach? What does he say? What does he teach? What does he say? This is what he says. Now, again, guys, as I said, this is a purely educational live. I'm just showing you guys how and why we can never become Muslim or accept Islam in our societies. Because if we have to accept this, watch how societies drop, how it disappears, how it falls. And you look at every country that's run by, that tried the Sharia, they all turned to ashes. But anyway, this guy, Ibn Qudamah al-Mughni, I'm saying it right, but anyway, he says, as for the virgin, there's no difference regarding it. Ibn Mundir stated, all we learned from among the people of knowledge formed consensus that it is permissible for the father to perform the nikah of his young virgin daughter. When he married her to a man who is of equal or higher status than her, and it is permissible to get her married along with her disapproval and refusal. So you can force her to marry even if she disapproves or refuses. Indeed, the saying of Allah proves the permissibility of marrying a young girl. As for your women who have despaired of further menstruating, if in doubt, their waiting period shall be 3 months, and those who have not menstruated yet. Thus he made the appointed period for those who had not yet had menstruation 3 months, except due to divorce by the husband in a marriage or a dissolution of marriage. Therefore, this proves she can be married and divorced, and there is no consent she can give that is to be taken into consideration. There's no consent necessary. No consent necessary. Now, this consensus was transmitted by other scholars in Islam. For example, if we look at, I'm going to read another consensus, and I'll tell you who gave it to us. This is the consensus was transmitted on the permissibility of a father marrying off his young virgin girl, at least the consensus of the companions, and among those who transmitted the consensus were Imam Ahmed in Al-Masil, Riyad Saldi, Al-Marwazi, this whatever, Ibn Al-Mudir, Ibn Bar, Al-Baghawi, Al-Nawawi, Ibn Hajar, and Al-Baji, Al-Arabi, Al-Shinniqiti. So all of these so far are agreeing with them. So what we have to understand now, for an official English translation, we see this explanation by Ibn Rushd, and he says this: they arrived and the consensus that the father can force a prepubescent virgin, and that he cannot be forced a divorced post-pubescent woman. And this is from the Distinguished Jurist Primer, Volume 2, page 5, translated by Imam Ahsan Khan Nayazi. So the official translation uses the word non-baligh, which means not post-pubescent. So you can force your child into marriage, force them into this relationship, force them to do dingy, all in the name of who? Allahu Akbar, Allah. MashaAllah. So this is rating going all the way back to what? 65-4. All the way back to 65-4, proving once again that 65-4 is an evil verse. Now it goes on. It's not. I'm reading because I've got this entire child marriage PDF, not Muhammad, but a PDF, and I've got it over here, and I'm just reading for you guys. Now it goes on. It says that now this is where it links to 65-4 a bit more. It discussed its meaning that prepubescents had to have dingy with their husbands in order to have a waiting period before the divorce. Well, the schools of law discuss the rights the father has to marry a non-virgin prepubescent daughters, and they disagreed. Some, like the Malik, ibn Anas and Abu Hanifa said that she may be forced, while others, like Imam Shafi, said that she should not be forced. See how honest I am? I just read. Malik and Hanifa said about the prepubescent deflowered woman that the father can force her to marry. Let's read that again. Malik and Abu Hanifa said about the prepubescent deflowered woman. Now, this prepubescent, she's called a woman because she's been deflowered, that the father can force her to marry, while the Shafi said that he is not to force her. The later Malikis said that there are the three views about her in the school. Man, can you guys imagine saying to your daughter, you are going to marry Ahmed next door? But Ahmed is 16 years old, Dad. I can't marry an old man. You just shut your gob and you're going to marry him. There's nothing you can do about it, or I will, Yes, I am. I'm shadowed. So you need to share the lives, guys. Tap and share, guys. Tap, tap, tap. Keep tapping. Share the lives. That's the only way that you're going to find me, is to search for me, because they got me on a tight leash. So let's keep going, right? So we look at the Mukhtasar al-Kuduri. He's a famous, in a famous manual of the Hanafi fiqh. We find that a prepubescent child is forced into marriage by her father or grandfather, does not have the option to annul the marriage. So she cannot annul the marriage because her father or guardian or grandfather has forced her into it. And then it says, if the child is forced into marriage by someone other than the grandfather or the father, then the child can annul the marriage when she reaches puberty. I read this before. I've had it for many years. And I forgot this part. I'll be honest, man, I forgot this part. She can annul the marriage when she reaches puberty. Guys, when she reaches puberty. So she's been married and dingy-dingied, but she has to wait till she starts growing a little bit of hair. Get the stubble going, a little bit of hair down there. And then she needs to get the breasticles developed, and she, must be able to, widen the hips and yada, yada. But with all of this, she can't apply for annulment for the marriage. She has to only do that when she reaches puberty, meaning that according to these people, these children, while in childhood, is being married. That's why it says if the father or the grandfather marries them off, then there is no option for them after attaining the age of majority. But if someone other than the father or the grandfather marries them off, then each one has two options. What are the two options? If she wants, he or she may remain in the marriage, or if he or she wants, she may repudiate the marriage. I like that. That's beautiful, man. I'm going to say I'm a liar, man, because according to Islam, there's no P in Arabic. So it's puberty, not puberty. So I made a mistake. I made a mistake, man. So Mulid al-Islam said he's lying. There is not puberty in Arabic. There is no P in the Al-Arabi. So you're right, man. I apologize. They didn't reach puberty. They were pre-puberty. Yeah, there's no puberty, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. That was good. I like that. I like that. Al-Hidayah, another book describing the Hanafi, the law in more detail, also says that a prepubescent child forced to marriage by the father, grandfather does not have the option to annul the marriage upon reaching puberty. He said, if they are married away by their father or the grandfather, that is the minor boy and the minor girl, notice I'm reading, the minor boy or the minor girl, they have no option after they attain puberty. The reason is that these two relatives, they're relatives, this I'm not reading, I promise you, possess an informed opinion and abundant affection. Therefore, the contract will become binding. if it is concluded by them. It is just as if it was concluded with the consent after they had attained puberty. This is from the Al-Hidayah, Hidayah, Volume 1, page 496, and it's translated by Imran Ahsan Khan Azi. So the Humble states that the daughters who are younger than 7 can be forced into marriage by their fathers. By their fathers, they are allowed to be forced into marriage. This is the Ahmed bin Hanbal. He says, her wali should consult her guardian. Then if she grants permission, he can give her in marriage. I said, but if she does not grant it? He said, if her father is her wali and she has not reached 7 years of age, then the father giving her in marriage is valid and she has no option. But if she has reached her 9th year, neither her father nor anyone else should give her in marriage without her permission. We're talking about 7. Before the age of 7, it says, if her father is her wali and she has not reached the age of 7, then her father giving her away in marriage is valid. 7, before she turns 7. Before she turns 7. This is called the Chapters on Marriage and Divorce, Chapter 3, by Abdullah, translated by Susan Spektorsky. So Ahmed also agrees with the Hanafi that if the father forces his prepubescent daughter into marriage, she has no option to annul the marriage when she reaches puberty. Again, I'm reading again. I asked my father about a man who gives his underage daughter in marriage. Guys, how much clearer can it be? How much clearer can it be? It's talking clearly about underage, but let's keep going. She can opt to turn down the marriage when she is of age. He said she cannot exercise this option if her father gave her in marriage. If she could, then Aisha could have with regard to the Prophet, because the Prophet married her when she was 6 or 7 years old and had interdingy with her when she was 9 and passed away when she was 18. Notice, she cannot exercise this option. What option? Is to opt out of the marriage. So Aisha had no chance. She had no option but to marry Muhammad. Let me read that again. I asked my father about a man who gives his underage daughter in marriage. Can she opt to turn down the marriage when she is of age? He said she cannot exercise this option if her father gave her in marriage. If she could, then Aisha could have with regard to the Prophet, because the Prophet married her when she was 6 or 7, meaning that she was underage and had dingy with her at 9. This is what we do. And this again is from the chapter of marriage. Now, regarding the dingy, if the father and the husband agree on something that will not cause harm to the child, then the dingy can occur. If they can't agree, Shafi, Maliki, and Hanafi say that the marriage may be consummated when the girl is able for dingy, which varies from one girl to another, so no age limit can be set. Notice what it said. That if she's not able for it, meaning the only way to be able to it is to try first. And if it doesn't go in, then guess what? We try again tomorrow. You try and try and try again. And then by 9 years old, you're tired of trying, you just force it. But let's see now it continues. The Hanbalis, this is why it says no age limit can be set. The Hanbali and Ubay ibn Ubaid say that the husband can do dingy with her without her consent at the age of 9. This is what they're saying. Now I'm going to read to you again. This is Sahih Muslim, volume 9, on page 206. And he says, with regard to the wedding party of the young married girl at the time of consummating the marriage, if the husband and the guardian of the girl agree upon something that will not cause harm to the young girl, then that may be done. If they disagree, then Ahmed and Abu Ubay say that once the girl reaches the age of 9, then the marriage may be consummated even without her consent. but that does not apply in the case of who is younger. The Malik, the Shafi, Abu Hanifa said that the marriage may be consummated when the girl is able for interdingi, which varies from one girl to another, so no age limit can be set. There is nothing in the hadith of Aisha to set an age limit or to forbid that in the case of a girl who is able for it before the age of 9, or to allow it in the case of a girl who is not able for it and has reached the age of 9. And then Al-Dawoodi said, Aisha reached physical maturity. Again, that's from Sahih Muslim, volume 9, page 206. Do you guys see there's a pattern going on? That I have read, I'm still reading, there's still more to go. But every person I referred to has confirmed that what the Christians believe about child marriage exists and the dingy with prepubescent children is true. Not like these liars want us to believe and pick and choose and say that, oh no, it was, talking specifically about a certain age group. So ultimately, these schools of law are unaware of the understandings of the Quranic verses and make their laws around it. But, this doesn't go into perfect detail, yet they disagree on a few things, all these different schools. So what we've seen so far is that Muhammad, they mentioned the marriage of a girl called Aisha to Muhammad. Now, this was in an area that caused the disagreement above about whether a man could do dingy with a 9-year-old wife without her consent. This would be the same with Aisha. At 9, Muhammad took her without her consent. And if you do dingy without the consent, we all know what that is. So the Hanbalis and Abu Ubay say, yes, because Aisha was 9 when Muhammad dingied her, whilst others believed that this event is not evidence for the sex age gap, the dingy gap. So regardless of this, there's many hadiths that report the marriage. For example, Bukhari that says married me at 6, consummated at 9, and others, and talks about how their friends were at the house and they had to hide and they played with dolls. And so let me just read some for you, because it's saying over here that the Ascalani's quote 65:4 to justify this. It says, I used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my friends, the girlfriends, also used to play with me. When Allah's messenger used to enter, they used to hide themselves because they know what type of dude he is. But the Prophet would call them to join me and play with me. Now, there's ways I can, translate that, but I won't. Sahih Muslim 244. Sahih Muslim 2440a makes it clear this used to happen in Muhammad's house. In Muhammad's house. They'll say, no, this wasn't in Muhammad's house. This was at her parents' house. Hang on a second. This used to happen in Muhammad's house, which she went to after he dingied her. Sahih Muslim 1422c is telling us this. And this again says that some believe that Aisha was still prepubescent at the time of dingy because she was still playing with dolls. And this is the view of Ibn Hajar Asqalani and Katabi, because this is what he says. It says, Abu Dawood and Al-Nasari have narrated that from Aisha that she said, the Messenger of Allah returned from the campaign of Tabuk or Khaybar. Here she mentioned the hadith in which the curtain attached to the door was lifted away. She said, then the side of the curtain over the dolls of Aisha were uncovered. He said, what is this, O Aisha? She said, my dolls. She said, then he saw amongst them the winged horse that was tied up. He said, what is this? I said, a horse. He said, a horse with 2 wings. I said, didn't you hear that Solomon had horses with wings? Then he laughed. Katabi says, from the hadith, it is understood that playing with dolls is unlike the amusement from other images concerning which was a threat of punishment is mentioned. The only reason why permission in this case was given to Aisha was because she had not reached the age of puberty. As to whether it was this case, it is not certain, but it is possible because Aisha was a 14-year-old girl at the time of the Battle of Khaybar, either having reached the age or past it or approaching it. As for the campaign of Tabuk, age 16 and 17, she had by then definitely reached the age of puberty. Therefore, the strongest view is that of those who said it was in Khaybar, thus harmonizing with what Al-Khattabi said, as that is superior to the consonance. This is from Ibn Hajar, Fath al-Bari, 527. Now, notice what just happened there. She had not reached the age of puberty even at Khaybar, meaning that at the age of 14, she was at Khaybar, she was still prepubescent. At 14, she was still not having her menses. So again, this is not me, I'm just reading, man. That's all we're going to do, we're just going to read. This view is also the view of the Hanbali, Shafi, and some of the high-ranking Hanafis. Let's see why. In Islam Q&A 175405, 175405, Islama question 175405. All you do is go to Islam Q&A. This is what it teaches. What Al-Hafiz Ibn Hajar, may Allah have mercy upon him, said about Aisha reaching puberty at the age of 15 is the view of the Shafis and Hanbalis after two senior scholars of the Hanafi madhab. Again, I'm not saying this. I am not saying this. This is what we were given, and this is what we go and read. That's it. You know, we're just gonna read. Let's do something there. Guys, I'm making sure that you guys have all of this information, right? You've got them all. I'm giving you the numbers. I'm giving you everything that you need, because this is important stuff. This is important stuff. So no Muslim can come and lie to us and say to us, oh, you made things up. This is not true. You know, because again, if you go to Islam Q&A, it says, are dolls only for girls? Is it permissible to play with them after reaching puberty? That's the question you find on Islam Q&A. And this is where you will find the fact that I'm not making this up. Islam Q&A 175405, put that in your search bar and you will get this explanation coming from the scholars that I just read now. Then you can go to Badr Abd Din al-Aini, A-Y-N-I, said she was prepubescent. He says, Aisha had not yet reached puberty, so this was a concession granted to her. However, playing with dolls is still disliked for those who have reached puberty. Al-Nawawi says that his view is that Aisha was still young and had not reached the years of puberty. Again, same thing, 175405. 175405, and all of this is there. Now, I can understand that there's no concrete evidence, 100% evidence of prepubescence or prepubescent, that Aisha was either, coming or going. Doesn't matter to me, to be honest. But what it clearly shows is that the mainstream Muslims accepted the opinion that Muhammad did dingy with a child. And if we look at it, according to the scholars saying at 14, that means he did the dingy for 5 years before she had puberty at 14. If he slept with at 9 and she only had a puberty at 14 or 15, 14, we can see for 5 years Muhammad was doing this with a girl that was prepubescent, had not yet reached the years of menstruation. This is why, she had her hair falling out. Muhammad destroyed this poor child. He destroyed this child. Hang on a second. I've got to get rid of some of the. You know what's. I've got to get rid of some of it, but it's all right, man. Let me just do it quietly. Hang on a second. Can't get rid of it. Okay. Okay. Another example of child marriage from the earliest generation can also be found in the Hanafi book, right? In the book called the Hujjah Allah al-Madina. I'm butchering it. But this again is coming from Shaybani, and his books are the primary source for the material for the Hanafi school. So he's a trustworthy person, according to them. He's a trustworthy narrator, and he says that Zubayr entered upon Kadama ibn Muzum, who used to visit him in his illness. Zubayr was given the news of the birth of a baby girl whilst he was with him. And so Kudama said to him, "Marry me to her." Hang on, she was just born, right? A baby girl, newborn. Zubayr said to him, "And what would you do with a minor girl while you are in this condition?" He said, "If I live, she is the daughter of Zubayr, and if I pass away, she will be the most beloved of my heirs." Thus he married her to him. This also appears in Sayyid bin Mansur in the Sunan. It says that these two companions agreed to marry a child on the first day of its life. And we read that this was allowed by the scholarly consensus. Man, I hope I'm not boring you guys. We're nearly done. I just got a little bit more. Nearly done. Just showing you guys so far that when we talk about 65:4, we are the only ones that are being true. We're the only ones that are being true, showing you guys that every time a Muslim tells you that she was old enough, yada, 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 we've got the evidence to knock them out the park. This is all nonsense when they lie to us about their scholars, their books, because they know that this is crazy, so they don't talk about this, they hide it from us. This is why it's so important. We need to, even though, and thank God that there's no Muslims right now to interfere, because this now is always and forever, as long as I have my channel on YouTube, I'm going to try to word it and show evidence for why 65:4 points to a prepubescent. I'm nearly done, guys, nearly done. Ubay bin al-Khattab distributed some garments among the women of Al-Madinah. One good garment remained, and one of those present said to him, "O chief of the believers, give this garment to your wife, the granddaughter of Allah's messenger." They meant Kulthum, the daughter of Ali. So Umar said that, where am I going with this? I don't know where I'm going with this. Oh yeah, she was between the age of 10 and 12. Ibn Kathir says that she was between the age of 10 and 12. Since her birth date is mentioned by someone around the 6th year after Hijrah. So now we can see that she was older, 10 to 12. So the marriage was, we're getting to the end, guys. I'm nearly done. Just bear with me. There's a guy called Farid. And not too long ago, this was out there, where there was a discussion on Twitter where people were having this guy called Farid response about this issue. And this discussion, he said the following, although the tweet is deleted, but we've got the evidence. It says, "I love how so many of these Islamophobes don't have the ability to represent me fairly by calling this child grape. How is a child grape when there is parental consent?" Now, this again is somebody asking the question, saying, if the parents agree to it, then this can't be forceful SA. It has to be okay because the parents allowed it. Now, we know for a fact that some parents are really cuckoos in the head. They're not really, all there. And some parents will make and say and do crazy things, So we can't accept that because the parent says it, it makes it okay. The parent can say, go to the store and steal clothes. That doesn't make it okay because the parent's accepting it. It's still bad. Let me just have some water, please. Now, the people criticized him for this position because the view is obviously immoral and evil. However, his position is by no means just his, because the Muslims are saying that the companions married off their newborns, and the consensus with the scholars is that it was okay that the father would marry off his prepubescent child without the consent. We've seen that through this entire life so far, that this was consensual, it was fine. The father, the grandfather agreed, so you can't go against it unless the child hits puberty. Then the child may be able to go against it. But again, you have to wait till you are hit puberty. So looking at this Quranic verse, right, it's evident that the Muslims, the scholars, all these people understand the verse to talk about prepubescent girls. And it's also evidence that it is permitted for them to be married and dingy-dingied with these prepubescent girls. That's the craziness. And this is also the understanding from the context of the Revelation 65:4 that we read. Now, the Sunnah also shows that it's permissible to marry prepubescent girls. We can see this. The companions also did so by marrying a 10-year-old or 12-year-old who was Fatima. So this was the practice of Muhammad, who married a prepubescent and had dingy with her, according to the majority opinion. And Zubair, he married a newborn to Kadama, and Katab married a young girl too. So all of these people were now seeing that it's okay, not a problem. So there's no doubt about the permissibility of marrying young girls in Islam or doing dingy with them, because it's prescribed in the Quran, in the Sunnah. And this is the consensus of all four schools of thought. All of them agree on this. All four schools of the jurisprudence agree on this. None of them are going against it. None of them are arguing about it. This is why you'll see, what's his name, Pikachu guy, Daniel Pikachu, and what's his name, Zakir Naik, and Ali Coward, and all these guys. They are agreeing with it. They are openly saying it. I mean, Pikachu, he even said that a 3-year-old, when he spoke to Mike from IP, he said a 3-year-old is not a problem. All you need is the parents or the guardian or their permission. They say yay and you can't say nay. You got to go with it. So again, my question would be, and again, this would be for all the Muslims. We've only now discussed Surah 65:4 from your Quran. I went in detail about this entire verse from the Quran. I would like any Muslim now to come up and tell me that I made things up, I lied about it, or any of this is not true. Please, any Muslim now, after all that evidence, can you please come up with it? Travis will not be coming back to TikTok just yet, guys. Not to TikTok. He will come to YouTube. I wish I could tell you guys reasons why, but just trust me on this. TikTok, Travis he's just sorting out a few things. There's some, and let me say it like this. It's because, I don't want to give out too much information. Just there's a reason for it. I just hope I'm done with this 65:4. I hope that I was able to present it to you guys in a way that is educational, and that you can at any point say to a Muslim, go and watch this live, or go and see what your scholars have said, or bring us scholars that are pointing to what you say as opposed to what Christians are saying. Because why is it that the Christians are able to present this topic or 65:4 in such detail, but you Muslims have to lie about it? So again, I'm hoping, and I'm glad no Muslims interrupted the entire presentation of this, because this presentation is an extremely, this is a Muslim issue. This is a big issue in Islam. Honestly, now on the topic, which one of these is haram in Islam? Guys, this isn't something that goes against Islam. This is something in Islam. So 65:4, all that I said to you is allowed in Islam, but don't eat pork, because pork will take you away from Allah. Please don't eat pork after this, guys, because it seems like 65:4 is definitely better than pork. 65:4 is better than pork. How many of you guys would actually believe that? How many of you guys would be like, oh man, seriously, I should have known this, man. You know, this makes more sense, you know. I mean, come on, guys. How many of you are lied to believe that the Christians will make things up? Huh? Come on, man. Come on, man. You guys thought that eating that 65:4 was bad? Nuh-uh. Eating pork will take you to hell. So please don't eat pork, because that's bad for you. That's definitely bad for you. I wish I was joking, I wish I was joking. I was telling my daughter, talking to my daughter, and we were just having a conversation about, she said to me, she actually said to me many years ago, why do you hate this religion so much? And I said to her, well, let me just give you this. And when I explained 65:4 to her, she looked at me and she said, it can't be true, because no one is that stupid. And she was young. She said, no one is that stupid. And I wish it was true. I wish I was just, if I was making this up, telling you guys, listen, I'm only lying, I'm just making things up over here, and I'm using lies to spread nonsense about Islam, I'd be ashamed of myself afterwards. But what I did today was show you guys, not from me, but from the Islamic sources, why this religion does not fit in our societies. Now that was just 434. That was just 434. $434, guys. I'm 65.4. Sorry, man. What am I doing? 65.4. That was only 65.4. What if I was to do this over and over again to show you guys 65.4, 434, 424 in detail, and then ask you again afterwards? So which one is worse? Which one is worse? Eating pork, drinking beer, having a glass of wine? Do you think that drinking a glass of wine, God is sitting down shaking his head going, that is so evil, that is so sick, that is so bad? But he's like, oh, I'm so glad he slept with the child instead. I'm so glad he did that dingy with that prepubescent, but look at him now, he's having a glass of wine. Oh my goodness. How many of you guys, think about this, would be upset with your child if your child came home and said, you know what? No, not your child. I'm talking about, let's say your child is 18. And your son comes home and says, listen, Dad, I know I'm 8. No, I'm trying to just make it make sense. I had a glass of wine. You'd be like, oh, okay. Oh, well, how do you enjoy it? I mean, I'd say that. My son came home and said I had a glass of wine. I'd be like, depending on his age, of course. If he's 18, I'd be like, oh, this was good. Do you recommend it? If my son came home and said, I dingy-dingied a 6-year-old or 9-year-old, I think I'd knock him to last week or put him back in the womb. I don't think that would be a conversation. I don't think that he would be that dumb to come back to me and say, guess what? I just did that. Zara, you can have a big glass. Notice now, I would be more upset with my son for coming back home and saying I 65.4 to go than him coming home and saying I drank 2 bottles of wine. So, or even if he came home and said, listen, I ate pork today. I'll be like, oh, was it good? I don't eat pork. Never have. My son does. I'm not going to stop him because I know that eating pork is not going to destroy him. It's not going to take him out of the fold of Christianity. It's not going to make him sick from the inside. No. What comes out of you. And what came out of all these people went straight onto these little girls. So again, we need to show you guys or people that Islam is not, you can't live with this, with people that believe that this is okay. How in the world is this okay? Ever? How is it ever okay? So Muslims, now is to invite. Muslims request if you want to come up, or Muslims, if and again, you know, I'm saying this with, I'm being honest with you guys. Really, it's crazy. I wouldn't be able to. I don't know if I told you guys, but I was in trouble once for one of my friends. She told me, because her grandfather disappeared, and everyone said, "Oh, he's gone to Florida. He's living in Florida for he's gone there to work, blah blah blah, something like that." We found out that he was dinging a 12-year-old. At that time, I was probably 18, 20-ish, and he got out of jail. He was at my grandmother's house. I saw him. I tried my best to stop him being there, to send him home. And that's because even as a teenager in my, late teens, early 20s, I had better common sense than Muslims do and ever had, because I knew that was wrong. That 12-year-old is not, you don't do that to a 12-year-old. But Muslims are trying to make it make sense and saying it's okay. Back then it was fine. Crazy but true, guys. Crazy but true. If there's any Muslim that wants to join in, you're more than welcome. I apologize again for earlier, but they tried to send me to the Kaaba, but this account came, the flight was returned. So even though the flight was cancelled, the destination was cancelled, the flight returned, and then there was a second flight. So my account was back up and running. So again, as I said, we need to remember that these people have been lied to, that they have been, duped into believing that this is okay. So all we do now with things like this is present the truth, present the evidence, and hopefully they can go back and ask questions and say, listen, Mom, Dad, Imam, Allah, whoever they talk to, can you make this make sense? That's right, Heavy. Flight of the truth seekers. Because you guys know I was live and then it ended because the flight was cancelled, and then they told me that the flight was just a couple of minutes later. So I had to board a new flight. And this flight is taking us all the way to the Kaaba to show people that this religion just does not make sense. And because it doesn't make sense, I want you guys to look carefully at this. So I'm going to remove the comments just for a little second. And check this out. So for those that haven't seen this picture, check out this picture, right? If you look on the top there, it says the old serpent, right? And if you look at this thing that's talking to this woman, it says, God is lying. Eat this fruit and you will never die. That was talking to Eve. Fast forward, and then it says, the Bible is lying. Take the Quran and you will never go to hell. You guys realize what happens there? The craziness of this religion, guys. The craziness it's really shocking. Mr. Potato, how are you, sir?
Hello, James. How are you, my brother?
I'm very well, my man. I'm very well.
I'm sorry. I'm a Christian. I joined until any Muslim shows up. Is it okay for 2 minutes?
Sure, my man. 2 minutes is perfect. I don't want to let them think that we're going to attack them, two people. But anyway, what would you like to add, my man?
I really appreciate you raised this topic. It's very fun. It's very fantastic. And English is my third language. Maybe I try my best to explain. But
what other languages do you speak, dude?
I'm from Africa. My Ethiopia, Amharic, Aramaic. You don't know them, anyways.
My man, I'm from Africa myself, brother. I'm African.
Yeah, I know you're from South Africa.
Amharic. I've got a lot of Ethiopian friends. I don't know how to speak it. But what other language you speak? Amharic, English, and
Amharic, and Orominya. You know Orominya? I mean, it's from our native languages, so you never heard of it, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. No,
anyway, Yeah, let me try to address my pointers. The
Are
first
you
one
sorry?
is
Are you in Ethiopia now?
yeah, no, I'm out. I'm not in Ethiopia.
Okay, okay.
So the first thing is what you presented right now is really something. It doesn't even require any brain. It just you can literally understand, and then unless you blindly don't want to take it, that's it. Well, what can you do, right? Most maybe 2+ billion Muslims, they don't wanna accept. They just block their mind and then they just take it as is, as if their God, Allah allows it, so they can't do much about it. But I don't know if you heard the recent conversation of every God Logic. Have you heard it?
Which one, brother? He talks a lot, man. He talks a lot. Like
Yeah. No, recently he went to another state to meet with
he
the.
went to San Diego and he went to
Yeah,
Balboa
yeah.
Park. Yes, I know all about that.
Yo, bro, he mentioned about this the same situation with that sheikh, or I don't know what his title is. The guy, he looks like very knowledgeable, blah blah, and then he asked him regarding specific about child marriage, and he's like, if Allah said even from the womb I would take it, I would do it. He said, that's so crazy, man. I mean, how you have a mind, right? Unless Allah is some kind of shaitan, how you even accept such thing? You should say, oh no, this is not acceptable, and Allah wouldn't say that or something like that. But he's like straight to his face. He said, yeah, I would take it. I can sign for this. And I was so furious. Like, what kind of people are this? They should at least use their mind, their brain, say something. If something is wrong, they should say, oh no, this is wrong. Allah doesn't allow this, or something like that, right? But they don't dare to do so because they think their Allah is gonna punish them or something. I don't even know what to say, but it's so crazy, honestly. If you look at if you watch it, and then in the middle, he's the guy say, we love Jesus, we respect him, and every is like, no, you don't respect. My Jesus doesn't allow such kind of evil act, such kind of child marriage. He's like, and then that was epic. The way he preached at that moment, maybe 2-3 words, he nailed it, bro. Okay, this is one thing. The other thing I want to ask, maybe you may not answer it now, but in the future you may use it as a topic. In their religions, they say there has been 1,400 plus prophets all over the place, right? And then they say all those prophets bring a message from Allah, just like Quran. Muhammad brought Quran, Jesus, angel, Moses, Torah, blah blah blah. So I'm always curious, brother James, how come Christianity, like the Torah, the Bible, and only the Quran, if that's true, only the two is mentioned out of 1,400. What happened to the rest of 390 plus books and messengers, prophets? How come we have never heard of it? I always curious to ask this question. I know they don't have any answer about it, but it is a lie. They just keep feeding us a lie, and then we just take it just for the sake of a conversation to have with them. I don't know if you get my point, brother James.
Yes, I got you, man.
Yeah,
there's 125,000 books.
Okay, so have you ever came across to any other than the Quran and the Bible? Have you ever come across other books by any chance?
Nobody has.
Oh
The
my
Muslims.
God.
Remember, this is only Muslims claiming it, and the Muslims are claiming that even the Torah and the Injil they don't have, so they got nothing.
Oh my God, there's no lie. You see, they keep fabricating, and then they feeding the whole universe, and then we just take it. Oh, we have to say, wait a minute, Just give us other, at least 1, 2, 3. Okay, for the Chinese people, their Allah sent them messenger. Okay. Why didn't the Chinese people say something about it? What about the other part of the world? I mean, isn't it crazy? We just take what they say. Those are the points I just want to raise. Thank you for letting me in, brother James. What you're doing is really amazing. I've been following you. I've been, listening to you every morning when I go to work. Right now I'm on the way. Just God bless you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing, and you are blessed. My prayers always, brother.
That's all I ask for, my man. That's all I ask for, just your prayers. But thank you so much for that. Just thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, brother. Keep doing what you do, brother.
Take care, my man. God bless you. Stay safe. Drive carefully. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. So if there are any Muslims that want to join, any Muslims that want to make this make sense, you're more than welcome, because again, this is your chance to do dawah. And if you are doing dawah, then you are bringing people to Islam. My focus will be today on Surah 65:4. I should have presented the link for you guys to have. I'm just thinking, the entire thing that I read is on a PDF that I would love to share with you guys, because it's so detailed and so clear. If I am able to share that, how would I do that? Somebody speak to me. I can't share it on the TikTok because it's on another device, but I can add it to the YouTube. Can I do that? Because I think that this is information that you guys need, right? You guys need this information. So let me put it out on. Yeah, not only that, LA, I'm talking the entire thing that I read, not just the hadith, the entire. If I do that, can you guys see that? Okay, it's on the YouTube, guys. If you go to the YouTube, that's a good way of getting you to the YouTube. It's on the YouTube, the WordPress. I'll just remove you again. I'm not sure. Are you trying to come up, Daniil? Are you trying to come up, or are you just accidentally tapping in your link tree? Now, what you guys must know, man. Okay. So what I did is I added this. It's really important that you guys have it as well. This is important. It's brilliant information, because again, I'm not doing this just for me to to sit here and try to sound like I know everything. I read as well. So everything is on the Islamic issue on the WordPress.com. The link is in the TikTok, on the YouTube now. Can I pin that? Let me see if I can pin that on the YouTube. There we go. So it's pinned on the YouTube, and all you have to do is go to 1 hour 37, 1 hour 38 minutes, and it's there. Just so you guys can also get this, read it. When you speak to Muslims, you can use it. Everything, I read it all. What I didn't do was read the comments at the end, because people tried to make comments saying how great it was. But this is what we do. Iron sharpens iron, and as long as you guys are also equipped, no Muslim can lie to you. No Muslim will come to you and say, oh no, it's talking about special case scenario, about certain girls that don't receive their period at a certain blah, blah, blah. You say, hang on, hold up, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Add it to the video description too, if you can, James. Now I don't know how video. Oh, okay. In the. Okay, I got you. I think I know what you mean. When the video is done, the live is done, I'll add it to the comments for you guys to go to. This is important information. I've got even more stuff. You guys think I stopped there? Loads. For those that don't know how to find me on the YouTube, you go to the link in my bio on TikTok. Go to the link in the bio, click on the link, you find the YouTube is attached to it. Go to the YouTube. It's pinned on there. I'll try to pin it in the description of the video, of the live. And it's important, guys. Extremely important. that we know how to destroy the lies of this cult. We know how to checkmate them. We know how to boom shakalaka them, because they are expecting us to be silly billies. They don't expect us to know these things. They don't want us to know these things. They don't expect us to do the amount of research that we actually do. Thank you, Samawi. I got you now. And so again, thank you for all of you for and unfortunately my main account's back on the 25th, but I will I will address this video just to make sure that we can have people come to this live and get information. And again, remember this, guys, the information that we use wasn't written by LA Apologetics or Samawi. It wasn't written by God Logic or David Wood. None of these guys wrote this. As you saw, we were talking about the heavy hitters. All four schools of Islamic thought, all four schools agree with us in pointing towards the child marriage is allowed in Islam. I'm not ending the live. I'm just letting you guys know that tomorrow I will go live, because earlier in the day, I'm going to reread and this time I'll show it on the screen. I'm going to show it and present it again, because this is something that's really important to share. I don't know why I've never shared it. I've always used it in arguments. But tomorrow, guys, on Sunday, I'm definitely not going to go live, because there's certain people that are looking to mock me and tease me and attack me, especially with this one dude called DJ Don. So I'm only going to go live on Sunday if everything works out for me. If not, on Monday, we will never speak about football. I'm just saying that. Monday, if I speak about football on Monday, it's been a good day. If I don't, forgive me for not talking about football. So if there's any Muslims that want to join, you're more than welcome. Any Muslim that wants to join, you're more than welcome. If not, we're just going to continue on showing you guys, now that we've gone through 434 and we see that 65:4. Let's go to the next verse. And this again will show you guys why Muslims refuse to use the previous scriptures as evidence like we just used now. Right? So you see these guys called like JB Trades Online and stuff. If you see me mute them and block them, you just allow me to, And we are not silly as United supporters. We know that we can't trust them, dude. We know that was like a one-hit wonder. Perfect, dude. Perfect. Thank you for that. I just saw that too. Just noticed. So anyway, guys, now that we are able, again, it's pinned on the YouTube right now. So you guys are more than welcome to go and find this document, use this document, because this document is devastating for the Ummah. And the funny thing was, I actually saw certain Mohammedans come to the live, and while I was reading, I saw them and they ran, because they know they can't argue with the Asqalanis and the Jalalains and the Hanafi and all these people. They can't argue with them. So the best thing to do is hide. Go to another live and try to pretend like you didn't see this one. Let's focus on something else. This is the magician trick. It's like they have something in the one hand, but they try to make you focus on the other hand because they want to, lie to you. That's it. That's all they're going to do. Today is Friday. The Muslims should be coming in because they should be doing dawah, but they don't. They can't, and they won't. So, according to Surah, now we've done 65:4. We'll just do a quick detour. In fact, let's do 424. 424, for those that don't know, this verse, this Quranic verse, not only allows you to do dingy with your right hand possess, but it also allows you to commit adultery. Yeah, apparently, guys, it's not only my life that's been hit with this, because again, I've been doing this for 6 years, and these guys know that I will present evidence. They'll rather go to other lives. And, their little dawah groups are telling them to, stay away from these people because they will cause shubahat. I get invited to lives and these guys just keep dropping me. That's not that Ali. The other Ali that came on the live was a South African Ali that doesn't actually believe in other Muslims or what other Muslims believe. Anyway, let's go to this verse. It says, also forbidden are married women unless they are your captives. Boom shakalaka. What is this saying, guys? That you may sleep with other married women. Isn't that adultery? According to the Quran, in Surah 424, Allah is saying that you can commit adultery in the name of Allah. So according to this verse, you may sleep with other women that are married. Such is the decree of Allah. Who decreed this? The God of Islam. So my question to a Muslim, is adultery a punishable thing or is it okay? Because Allah is saying, if you commit adultery, you shall be stoned until you're unalived. But then it says, it's allowed. Come on, it's okay. They're not Muslim. Come on, man. You waged war. You can go do your dingy with these people. Such is the decree of God, of Allah. Lawful for you are women besides these if you seek with them with your wealth for wedlock, not for debauchery. Now, this is where the craziness starts. Because 434, it's telling us clearly that yes, you can dingy with these women because they are not from you. They're not of you. You think this is the only one? Nah. It talks about it in Surah 18. It says, then they found from among our servants whom we granted mercy from us and whom we taught knowledge from ourselves. Talking about, going on, it says that, so they went on until they met a boy who they slew. Have you slain an innocent person? So I'm reading the wrong verse. Sorry, man. I'm in the wrong verse. So again, in this verse, it says, talking about this verse in 424, it's telling you clearly who you can and you can't dingy with, while at the same time it's telling you that adultery is allowed. So this is my question then for the Muslims. If adultery is allowed and it's evil, it's not from Allah, it's something that's not a good thing, and Allah is the one giving you this thing that's not a good thing, that means Allah is allowing you to do more evil. Now remember, we've done this before, where we've spoken about how the God of Islam is the one that causes you to do evil things. And here's an example of Allah saying, it's fine, dude, what are you talking about? I'm the one that will make you commit adultery. So Allah in the Quran, according to the verse, is the one that will cause you to commit adultery. Why in the world would I want to follow a God that has now taught us that not only is 65-4 allowed, but you can also commit adultery, something that's supposed to be no. The same Quran that teaches us that, war is good for you. Adultery is good for you. It's fine. It's, they're not of you. They're different people. Come on. It's okay. She's only a Jew. It's only a Christian. It's only a disbeliever. It's fine. So, but the question is, these people are still married. Guys, these are married women. And Allah is saying that you may penetrate married women. Again, why would the God of Islam say that something that is supposed to be punishable by being unalived is also allowed? It's allowed in this religion. Don't you guys find this sick, disgusting, and evil? Don't you see why Muslims don't want to talk about this in their religion? Do you see why now the women are spared? They say, in the Bible, Allah kills women and children. God kills women and children. Because in Islam, he's saving the women and children so that the man can do dingy with them. Ibn Hisham said in his book, right, he says, you will soon see Allah. No, you see Allah will soon make you inherit the land, their treasures, and make you sleep with their women. This is from Al-Rad Al-Anf, volume 2, page 182. According to this, Ibn Ishaq is saying that, according to Ibn Hisham, Allah will give you these women so you can sleep with them. MashaAllah, how lovely is that? And then remember that we also have what Muhammad was given. Because Allah says in Surah 33:50, we have made lawful to you your wives, whom you have given their dowries, and those whom your right hand possesses. These are the dingy slaves. Even if they married, doesn't matter in Islam. So the God of Islam is teaching you in 65:4, penetrate children, and then he says, not only that, you can also have married women so you can commit adultery. In whose name? In Allah's name. So in 33:50, this is exposing the identity of Allah. It's telling you who this God of Islam truly is. It's revealing his true immoral character, the character of a deity called a God of Islam. So he's authorizing you to rape these women that are married. So you're committing many offenses now. SA, rape, adultery, all in whose name, guys? In the name of the God of Islam, Allah. 65:4, penetrate kids. 424, adultery, rape, SA. Because you're doing to who your right hand possesses. Why? Because Allah has given them to you as prisoners of war. Shameful, disgusting, and evil. That's right. Engaging in dingy with someone else's wife just because Allah ordained it. So he justifies the legitimacy of this action. Thanks to Allah, Muhammad now and the Muslims can rape whoever they wish as long as they're captives. Now, will a true God act like a common pimp? Will a true God pimp out his children? Now, Allah doesn't overlook the carnal desires of Muhammad or Muslims. He says in Surah 424, because the Sahaba's like, what, Muhammad, you can get that and we left out? Come on, man. Can we get some? And he's like, hang on a second. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-ling-ling. Oh, I got the answer. In 424, Allah has forbidden to you married women unless they're the captives of war. Such is a decree of Allah. Watch this hadith, right? There's another hadith to confirm what 424 says. And this is Sunan Abi Dawood. And he says, the apostle of Allah sent a military expedition to out us. On the occasion of the battle of Hunain, they met their enemy and fought with them. They defeated them and took them captives. Pay attention to this. Some of the companions of Allah were reluctant to do dingy with these female captives. In the presence of their husbands who were unbelievers. These women were married. The husbands were there. So Allah, the God of Islam, sent down a verse, and all married women are forbidden unto you except those captives who your right hand possesses. So these women that are married, you can penetrate them. That's adultery when you sleep with another married woman. Because these men were also married, but they couldn't control themselves like Muhammad. They just needed dingy. And because they just needed the dingy, you know, this is what they were focused on. But Allah came to the rescue, mashallah. Takbir. He came to the rescue. He was like, guys, don't you dare think for 1 second that I forgot about you. I got you. I got you, man. You know, you think I forgot about you? No way, Jose. I got you. So what did he do? He gave us 424. And you think it ends there. No, it doesn't. Because while the Muslim is prohibited from doing dingy with a married woman, there is always an exception just to bring them into Islam. Because if you don't, then the guys are going to leave Islam. So Allah's like, how do we control people? Money, power, dingy. Money, power, dingy. Money, power, dingy. Money, power, dingy. Let me give you that and you'll come to Islam. Because if I don't give you that, you leave Islam because there's nothing there. That's right. There's always a loophole. There's always something that will help them come back. So what does Allah do? He focuses on giving this to them. And you think it stops there? No. Because this pure evil continues even when it comes to the statutory rape. Because I don't know how to say this without getting my live banned, but let me read you another hadith. And then we attacked them from all sides and reached the watering place where a battle was fought. Some of the enemies were unalived and some were taken prisoners. I saw a group of persons that consisted of women and children escaping in the distance. I was afraid lest they should reach the mountain before me. So I shot an arrow between them and the mountain. When they saw it, they stopped. So I brought them, driving them along. So they pick up the women and children. Why? Because we can see so far, when we looked at 65:4, the Sahaba were following the eyes of Allah, the ones of Allah and Muhammad, and allowing them to marry children. So this again was predator behavior. Predator behavior. Because again, another example is where it says, reading the same hadith, it says, again, this is a hadith by Sahih Muslim, 4345, book 19, 4345, it says, I drove them along until I brought them to Abu Bakr, who bestowed that girl upon me as a prize. The girl was given to him as a prize. So I arrived in Medina. I had not yet disrobed her when the messenger of Allah met me in the street and said, give me that girl. Boom! Notice what happened. It goes back to this PDF dude that says, give me that girl. So not only is 424 telling you that you can own slaves, it's telling you that you can also penetrate these little girls and commit adultery. Man, who's ready for the Shahada? Anyone wants to take a Shahada, man, make a request. So these predators are the foot soldiers of Muhammad that go and collect these people, and Muhammad gets a chance to check them out. Now notice what the guy said. He said, I had not yet disrobed her. Meaning he's going to do his dingy with her. He's gonna, now remember, if he's going to take her immediately after the families have been unalived, then this is showing us that this is grape, because she hasn't mourned yet. She hasn't had time to go through process what just happened. These men already are walking with a excitable package in their pants, and all they want to do now is disrobe them. But Muhammad stepped in. He's like, hang on a second. What you got there? What you got there, man? What you hiding behind your back? Let me see it first, man. And the guy's like, come on, Mo. I haven't even had a chance yet. Muhammad's like, Allah will send me a ding-a-ling-a-ling soon, and I'll get a new revelation. So you best just show me what you're hiding. And he's like, oh, come on, man. Okay, this is what I have behind me. This girl. And Muhammad's like, how you doing? How you doing? And he's going to give it to me. Genocide and grape, according to 424. Genocide, grape, slavery, adultery, all in one verse. All in one verse. When you unalive people, take them as slaves. A crazy, all in one verse. Another reason why the women and children are spared is why? Because of the dingy. Because of what they are able to present or provide to Muhammad. Remember, the war captives they used to serve, these were the steady supply of the slavery, of Islamic slave trade. There was value in these women and children, because these other predators wanted this young blood, something not touched. Crazy. That's why when you read Surah 423 and 424, it says clearly, when a child or woman is taken captive, they become slaves by the fact of capture, and the woman's previous marriage is immediately annulled. Why? So that they are free to become concubines of the captors. This is why the Quran permits Muslim men to have dingy with the wives and their slave girls. That's why it says, forbidden are you except married women. Now, even though it says they're not married or it's annulled, not according to the woman, not according to her husband, she still is married to someone. But Satan steps in and says, it's okay. Allah steps in and says, it's okay. Don't worry. It's all going to be good. It's all going to be good. King Drake in the house.
Brother, let me know if my mic's messed up. I'm good because I'm in the car. That's why I'm asking.
You scuba diving is what you're trying to say, right?
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Now, real quick though, So in this verse, which I like to argue a lot, is that when they say the marriage is automatically annulled, why then, right? Why then, if this is the argument they try to make and say, oh, this is fine, then they're not married? Because I like to argue that this is adultery. Why then does Allah call them married, you know?
Yeah, well, this is the question is in whose eyes is the marriage annulled? Because the woman still feels she's married, her husband still feels he's married, but Allah is telling the Muslims their marriage isn't valid anymore. So now who is the only one that would, you know, because the Bible teaches us when God puts someone together, that no man can pull them apart, or should pull them apart. But the Quran is saying that Allah will pull them apart just so some man can dip his wick in there. That's it. There's no,
Yeah, and I like to argue even in Allah's eyes they're married, because He says married women. You know, so even like, yes, so this is where Allah establishes adultery, and even in His, you know, even in the standards of the Old Testament, it would be adultery. The standards of the Bible, the Injil, it's adultery, and Allah calls them married. I'm not privy to a verse that says that they're not still married. You understand? So I like to argue it from that way. I don't know if that, you know, I mean, I know that they say later on, they try to say later on, oh, it means that the marriage is annulled or whatever. But even like, I'm sure you went over the tafsir for it. I hope I'm not jumping ahead of you.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm literally just introducing it, and we, you know, if we have to repeat it, because again, those people listening in may need to, because they're in shock the first time they hear, they'll be like, did they really say that? Did they really do that? So, you know, we don't mind.
Because even in the tafsir, and I know you know this already, but Ibn Kathir, you know, the men disliked it. They were sleeping with them and they disliked it, and the reason, that's the whole reason for the verse, because these people came to Muhammad and was like, we dislike sleeping with these women because they already had husbands. So even in their mind, they were committing adultery, right? And so this is when that revelation comes up, right? And it's always like that in the Quran. It's always this convenient revelation for Muhammad, and this time, you know, you will say, oh, well, this one wasn't necessarily for Muhammad. This was for the troops. Well, no, Muhammad needs his soldiers, right? He needs his soldiers. He needs them in good, basically in a positive mood, positive atmosphere. So them thinking so negatively, like, oh, we're doing the wrong thing. We're raping these, raping these married women. And Muhammad's like, oh, actually, no, I just heard from, you know, the parrot on my shoulder, Allah, and he says, no, it's perfectly fine. These are not forbidden for you.
And this is why it's so important to present all of this, to show people that this one verse, guys, is saying this. The one verse 424. Let's see what it allows so far. It allows genocide, allows slavery, allows adultery, allows grape, allows SA. What am I missing? That's 5 different things one verse is addressing. And all of these goes against the God of the Bible. Every single one of these goes against the God of the Bible, showing and proving that Islam can't have the same God. And if something goes against the Bible, goes against God, it can only come from something or someone evil. And if this is so evil, if 424 is teaching you that you can't have coitus interruptus, for those that don't know, during these battles, Muhammad's Sahaba, the boys, were saying, you know, we can't do anything to these women because these women have husbands. They literally have husbands, you know, with us. I mean, the husbands are here. And Allah is like, you know, man, no, it's fine. You can go for it. And then they're like, well, listen, you know, if we, you know, park our ship we dock our ship and the seamen leave the ship, we're going to end up with a couple of babies on the way. So can we just, dock without letting the seamen leave the ship? And Muhammad's like, nah, man, if the seamen leave the ship and, they want to stray and, walk about on the land and if you end up having a couple of kids, it's by the will of Allah. Notice again that this evil demonic verse is forcing people to be other than good. It's forcing them to be evil, because this is an evil verse. 424 is an evil verse, and it's given, and it says by the will of Allah. This is what Allah decrees. So he's decreeing this to unalive men, to take these women as captives, right hand possessed, dingy with them, woman and child, genocide, you name it, SA, you name it. It's all in this verse, in the name of Allah. They saw these women as prizes, guys. Sorry, go on.
James, that's right. James, I like how you said that. Dock the ship, and what if the passengers leave? And he's like, oh, it don't matter. So, James, what would you say to somebody? Say a Muslim comes up and says, "Oh, actually, they have to marry these women that they have captive." So they say, oh, the marriage is annulled, and actually they have to marry these women that they have captive. They can't just sleep with them, and they have to take care of them and provide for them. What would you say if somebody said that?
424 teaches them clearly that they don't need to marry these women. There is no need for marriage when it comes to your right hand possessed. Remember, Muhammad used to also do dingy with his right hand possessed. He had dingy slaves. He literally had, let me find the one for you, right? I'll read the hadith for you.
You went low for a second, but I think you're good now. Just for a minute, you went real low.
Okay, got you. Let me just find it. There we go. So let me read this hadith for you guys. And this is Sunan An-Nasai 3959. Sunan An-Nasai 3959. And in this hadith, it says, it was narrated from Anas that the Messenger of Allah had a female slave with whom he had dingy. But Aisha and Hafsa would not leave him alone until he said that she was forbidden for him. Then Allah the Mighty and Sublime revealed. Now watch this. The wives are upset that Muhammad is out there sowing the seed. And they were like, hey man, come on dude, this is not your wife, this is your slave, we are your wives, yada yada. Watch this. Then Allah steps in, the God of Islam steps in and says, O Prophet, why do you forbid that which Allah has allowed to you? Right? So again, in this verse is proving that Allah steps in and he's like, hang on, hold on, wait a minute. How can you say no to something I said yes to?
So he's correcting the prophet. He has to correct him.
Yeah, let me do you have Duran on your page now?
I do have. You mean like, do I follow Duran?
Yeah, I don't have him on this page, I don't think. Can you just send him an invite?
Yeah, I'll share it with him. Yeah, I'll share it with him. So that would mean that he took a wrong oath. I just shared it with him.
Lovely, jubbly. I did say this, I sent him a message saying that since I'm shadow banned and he's not, I said he can pop in and then we'll just get some, I can let him run it. Because this is a topic where I don't think he has all the details just yet about this topic. And I thought it would be good to share it with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I have noticed that he's definitely sharpened up on some of the Islamic sources. So that's good. That's good. So anything helps.
Yeah, if you guys have Duran on your page, guys, just send him a link to this live. I actually, as I said, I should have been using this one more, and
His first formal debate. I'm so proud of that guy. I can't. Oh, I think the topic is Islam or Christianity better for society? So please look into that. I'm pretty sure it's on Modern Day Debate today. I don't know the time, which I'm sorry about that, but please support our brother Word and I. Put some super chat questions in. Go support that brother. He's doing some good work.
It's to do with slavery. The topic is which society, Christians or Muslims, when it comes to slavery and stuff. It's to do with slavery because So no, Sir Samawi, I'm back. I'm not sure what happened on the YouTube, guys. Thank you for reminding me or showing me that the YouTube stopped. I apologize. I have it in front of me, and I just couldn't get there quick enough. I had to restart the YouTube. I had to drop myself off the YouTube and then restart the YouTube. But we're back on YouTube. I can see that. So yes, and forgive me again. I am in the process of, apparently my PC is as old as the dinosaurs, so I need to upgrade that one because it could be that, but it's supposed to be working fine. So Word and I is arguing with a guy called Nadir Ahmed. Let me give you guys a quick heads up about Nadir Ahmed. When Nadir was having a conversation with David Wood, they got to the verse of 929. And when they read 929, for those that haven't watched it, it is hilarious because he didn't know what 929 actually said. Then he read it like this. He said, fight those who believe, and then he stopped. He said, okay, hang on a second. He said, I'll read it again. Fight those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day, or who consider, he says, listen, hang on a second. And then he kept quiet, and then he read it again. And then he said, fight those who do not believe. He's like, listen, David, can we change the topic? Just because can we change the topic, please?
Yeah. He goes, wait a second. He said, can we talk about stuff that we have in common or something like that?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. That was so hilarious. And mind you, let's set the stage. He did this in a church. This debate was in a church in front of, I don't know how many people were there, but you can imagine, I don't know, anywhere from maybe 30 to maybe 70, 80 people, maybe. I don't know how many people go to this event, but that makes it just all the more funny that he does this in front of a live audience.
Yeah, again, as Dude just said, I honestly didn't think, in fact, I'm going to pin it over here, guys. It's on the YouTube. See that, guys? You need to be on YouTube. Around 25% of the viewers on YouTube are not following me or subscribing. This is what you're going to be losing out on. So on the YouTube now, I've pinned it. Samawi pinned it for us or added it for us. where we can watch it, and you will have a good chuckle watching this Nadir guy make an absolute muppet of himself, because he honestly does it like this. Yeah, he says, fight those who do not believe in Allah. Hang on a second. Fight those who do not believe in Allah. David, hang on. Can we rather talk about something we have in common? Something, can we? Crazy. You'd never believe it. But before we move on, if there's to this back, we need to get back to this topic, and it's really important. If there's any Muslims that want to come and make it make sense, because what we did today was we focused solely on one verse so far, 65:4. We have gone through it completely. Now we are on 424, and 424 is proving to you again that genocide is allowed, slavery is allowed, adultery is allowed, grape is allowed, SA is allowed, all of this by the will of Allah. All in one verse, guys, in one verse, by the will of the God of Islam. See, we will go through it step by step. And notice, and again, I say, if no Muslim comes up because Muslims are afraid of this topic, that's fine. It's on the YouTube, and I pray that you guys share this with everyone on YouTube. Share it with everyone on wherever social media you have. That document that I gave you, make sure that you share that document as well. Print it out, have it with you. I don't, I wish I did. I say things, but do as I say, don't do as I do. But share it with people, because this is so important that when a Muslim comes to you and says something other than that, you are able to say, hang on, let's read. Something Muslims don't do. So according to this now, we can see, according to 424, that the God of Islam is saying that when a child or a woman is taken captive, they become slaves by the fact that they are captive. And as we saw, Muhammad had dingy slaves because he captured them during these wars. So now, that's allowed in Islam. 65:4, marrying prepubescent, allowed in Islam. Two things we've reached now that are allowed in Islam, but please, guys, don't eat pork. Please don't eat pork. Go, dingy a prepubescent child, that will make Allah happy. If you eat pork, that will not make him very happy. So shape up. Don't do something that Allah wouldn't like. In fact, you can go to your neighbor's house, unalive them because they're not Muslim, take their wives and children, and dingy the wives or the children. That's okay. Not a problem. Just don't eat pork, please. That would make Allah upset. No, but committing adultery, that guys, rather do the adultery, just make sure you don't eat pork. So, now that we've established, do you want to add anything else with 424, Drake?
No, not really. I just like to, like I said, I just like to establish that, Allah calls them married. That way when they do say, oh well, the marriage is annulled, or adultery is forbidden. So that's how I like to run that argument. I like to get them to agree on a definition of adultery first, and so we both agree on that. Like, all right, what is the definition of adultery? Try to get them to concede that adultery is a married person stepping outside of their marriage and being with someone else who's not their wife, or or them just sleeping with somebody who's not their wife. This is adultery, right? And so then. And we know there's a broader definition too, because if you're having sex outside of marriage, that's adultery as well. But in this term, that's what we're talking about, the latter. And so I like to get them to agree to that first. That way it's established, and that way when we go to the verse and we say, hey, Allah calls these people married, and as you can see, married women are forbidden. And then there's an exception, and that exception shows you that you can sleep with married women. and then therefore you got them pinned down, and they really can't go. Really can't get out of that unless they contradict themselves or contradict the earlier definition that they said. So it's really interesting. It is fun argument to run. Tensions do get high at times, but yeah. So that's all I have to add.
No, but that's exactly true. That, guys, when a Muslim does engage in these topics, it's interesting to watch how they are how desperate and how they try to make it make sense. And again, as we saw, if we read the Quran and the Quran is telling us something, then we should actually accept what it told us, and don't be like Muslims and tell us what Allah tried to say.
Yeah, and then you brought up the thing about the oath, which is the wrong oath, Muhammad made, and then he needs to be corrected. Well, actually, it just goes to show you, like, even them claiming that Muhammad has a direct connection to Allah, even that, like, the things he was doing is in contradiction, right? Even Allah had to say, "Oh, you're wrong," right? But then if you ask a Muslim, and then this is a little bit different side topic, but it's still privy to the verses that we brought up. If you ask a Muslim if Muhammad was ever wrong, they'll say, "No, he never spoke from himself." You know what I mean? But then you go and look at the verse and it says, "Well, listen, he made something haram for himself that Allah made halal," which is also shirk, by the way, but we won't get into that. So it's just interesting. It's a great topic, and it can, like I was saying before, like, you got to be able to, when a Muslim is not, they know that you're looking not to trap them, but you're looking to establish an argument. A lot of times they'll be try to be very evasive, and you just got to be able to move with that evasiveness where it still creates problems within their doctrine.
That's right. That's right. So now that we've done 2 verses today, right? We've done 2 verses so far, 65:4, 424. I think it's only fair that we go now to 434. Because remember now, so far, for those that have just popped in, God bless you and welcome. According to Islam so far, dingy with a child, allowed, not a problem, by the will of Allah, decreed for you by Allah. Remember, there's no wisdom in Muhammad's marriage to Aisha. There's no wisdom. It was done purely for lust. Purely for lust. No wisdom in the marriage, pure lust. Then we have to understand that according to Islam, 424 also allowed in Islam. That teaches you adultery, rape, SA, child marriage, slavery, all allowed, but don't eat pork. Now we're going to go to one more verse, and this is 434. 434 teaches us about our loving wives, about marriage, how beautiful the sanctity of marriage is in Islam, and how you should treat your wife. Because again, treating your wife is so important in Islam that Allah decided to teach man how to treat the beautiful wives. Where would we go then to understand and learn about Islamic wives and their marriage? We go to 434. 434 is beautiful, and it's so romantic, it's so pleasant. I pray that everybody understands how important it is to have this type of marriage. You open your heart and you open your arms to your wife. You love her with all you have. Sorry, that's wrong. That's from a cartoon I saw. According to Islam, this is what it teaches. It says men are in charge of women because Allah had made one to excel over the other. So women who are virtuous and obedient to Allah and guard the hidden as Allah guarded it. As for women, you feel Man, that's a bad translation. Men are the managers of the affairs of women, for that God has preferred in bounty one of them over another. And for that they have expended of their property. Righteous women are therefore obedient, guarding the secret of Allah's guarding. And those you fear may be rebellious. Admonish, banish them, and beat them. If they then obey you, then look for no way against them. But if they don't obey you, continue with the beat it. Michael Jackson. So according to the verse now, the love that you show your wife is by disciplining her. You discipline her into obedience. Now notice the reason for this. It's saying clearly that if you fear disobedience, meaning she doesn't need to be disobedient. Guys, as I said, you need to tap the screen because I'm not even allowed to remove the stop. They're stopping me on the live, and I'm not even allowed to remove that anymore on this account. So it's up to you guys to keep tapping the screen and sharing the live because it's not allowing me to remove the restrictions. That's why people can't find me because of the restrictions. So please just keep tapping the screen, please. Let's get us to 100,000 or even 80,000. I'll be happy with that. But let's just keep tapping. So according to the verse, we can see now that you don't have to act. The woman doesn't have to actually do anything just yet.
James, one second. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think it's only right because we are talking about 434 that I say that if you don't 434 that screen, we know you secretly kissed that black stone. So don't be a stone kisser, and you better be 434 in that screen right now.
That was Chris Close in the house. That was Chris Close in the house. Okie dokie. So let me just keep going. All right. Thank you for that, dude. So let me just continue. So now it says, if you fear disobedience, right? So if you fear disobedience, you can do this to your wife. You may strike your wife like she is your child. How many of you women that listen to these lives, women, think that you should be disciplined as your child, as your child should be disciplined? Imagine me walking up to my wife and disciplining her by smacking her, by striking her, because that shows humiliation. You humiliating her, you're embarrassing her, you are destroying her in the name of Allah. So the God of Islam says, destroy this woman. Sorry, go on, man.
But James, like you're just using a bad translation. Actually, it's talking about tapping, and you're supposed to use a toothbrush, a miswak, or a bundle of grass. It doesn't say you can beat your wife.
My mistake, ladies and gentlemen, my mistake. Let me see, because again, I forget that we need to read these verses with the proper glasses and look for the invisible ink. For those that don't know, let me educate you guys. For those of you that don't know, the fact is, and the truth is, that when the Quran was written, at that time, Allah provided special glasses. Those special glasses enable you to see the hidden print between the lines. And only when you see the hidden ink between the lines do you get a fuller understanding of Islam. So if I read the verse, I'm going to reread it, and I'm going to, because again, I made a mistake. Let me reread it. It says this: men are the managers of the affairs of women. For that, Allah has preferred in bounty one over another. For that they have expended of their property. Righteous women are therefore obedient, guarding the secret of Allah's guarding. And those you fear may be rebellious, admonish, banish, and stroke them gently with a toothbrush, very lightly, so much so that you they will not feel it. Let me finish the verse. Hang on. Touch them gently with a toothbrush, so much so that they may not feel it. They may be stimulated and be turned on by it. Then they will obey you and run to you, devoted, subjugated, and willing. Man, I should have put the glasses on the first time. I apologize, man. I apologize.
That's much better, James. Much better. And I heard that actually in one of the hadiths, the girl was green because the Crest toothpaste came off the toothbrush when he hit her. So her skin was all purple and green or whatever because of the toothpaste. So I wanted to add that hikmah to this live.
No, let me. I'm going to read. Let me read that hadith as well for you guys, because again, you guys make things up. You guys just keep adding and making things up. So we got to read the verse. Now, the verse, I'm going to read it without the glasses on, and I'm going to read the verse with the glasses on, right? So it says over here, Rifa divorced his wife, whereupon Abu Rahman bin Zubair and blah blah married her. Aisha said the lady came wearing a green veil and complained to her, Aisha, of her husband and showed her a green spot on her skin caused by the beating. It was the habit of the ladies to support each other. So when Allah's apostle came, Aisha said, I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing woman. Look, her skin is greener than her clothes. Now, because I didn't have my glasses on, notice I made a mistake. So if I read it with the glasses on, it says, a lady came to Aisha wearing a green veil and complained to her, Aisha, about her husband showed her the green spot on her skin caused by the beating. It was the habit of the ladies to support each other when Allah's apostles came. Aisha, however, misunderstood most of what she saw because Aisha had a problem with her eyes being colorblind. So she saw a birthmark on the woman, assuming it was green from the beating, but women in Islam are never beaten and never disrespected. Therefore, Aisha requested that this hadith be read with the proper glasses on, since colorblind is a deformity of a problem that she had growing up. So again, Aisha was colorblind. I apologize for that. She couldn't tell the difference between she couldn't tell the difference between a birthmark and a green mark.
So you know what? Bless the mother of the believers and her eyesight. Sometimes we get things wrong.
Do you notice, guys, that we are able to put the glasses on? We are able to put the glasses on. And when we put the glasses on, you'll notice what happens. The glasses make it make sense. So I apologize to all the Muslims out there for having these lives and, unfortunately, forgetting how to read.
Yeah, it's because you got to know the Arabic, James. Come on, man. Got to know the Arabic. The people who are just reading that and taking it all out of context and saying the woman was beaten green and saying that, Aisha said that the women of the believers go through this all the time. It was a common practice. Man, they're just not reading the Arabic right. That's all. The Arabic is a rich language, James. We all know that.
That's why I beg forgiveness for all the people out there that speak Arabic and understand that it's such a vast language that I make a mistake every now and then by forgetting to put on my my hidden line glasses on. I do actually have these glasses. They're very important to me because and I can't use them all the time because it actually hurts my head with the lies that my eyes are giving me, because again, when I use my normal eyes and it doesn't show me the hidden script, the hidden writing, I get so frustrated with myself because again, my brain is lying to me because the writing is there. We just can't see it. We just can't see it.
Well, James, you know, when your brain is, you know, goes like when your brain sees something that you know, either contradicts or sees something immoral in these writings, in this Arabic, in the Quran, and the Islamic sources, you know, we got to put the brain on the shelf. Come on, man, you know
That's
that.
right.
Put the brain.
I keep
on
forgetting,
the
man. Come on, man. I keep
shelf.
forgetting.
Come on, man. This is the most important thing, man. If you don't put the brain on the shelf, you can't be full Muslim. Seriously, dude.
Ooh. Do you understand? Do you guys in the chat understand how much we need to remember?
Super low, James. Super low. You just went super low.
Okay, no worries. I'm back again. Guys, you need to understand that sometimes I forget to leave the brain at the door. I forget that I'm supposed to be, you know, numb. I forget that I'm supposed to put the glasses on. I forget that I'm supposed to be one of those that don't ask questions. I'm a very forgetful person, and for that I ask for your forgiveness. But guys, I just got a message. I need to, you know, now this is me going to end the live, not TikTok, but since there's no Muslims coming up, and we were able today, I'm not stopping on this topic. On the next time I do this topic, I will continue, guys. I will reread everything that I read before because I think it's important, and I will add to it because I do have. In fact, let me see if I can find it. Why is the writing so small on these things? Because I've got a whole list of things about 65.4 and the evidence, and it would be brilliant to actually do another live on 65.4 and the child bride, and to show you guys why you must never think that we are the ones we're hiding anything from you, because we are the ones. No Muslim is willing to do what we are doing. I've got another. I can't send you guys this one because this one has all my details on, but it's basically in the same line as the last thing that I showed you. But this goes into even more detail, talking about most of what we saw, but it also breaks down the Maliki and all of these different names and aspects with more examples of how 65.4 in context is proving exactly what we just spoke about. Showing you again that we are able as Christians, because we have Christ with us, and Christ is telling us, don't be liars, don't be evil, don't be, you know, you need to, you know, present the truth, not lies. We are not allowed to lie to you guys, to make things up just to benefit from it, because that wouldn't be honest, right? That's definitely not honest. So we have to be honest with you guys so that you can see. How do you increase the size of that over there? Okay. We have to be able to be honest with you guys so that you can see that Islam is not true. There's no way that Islam is true. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm doing 3 things over here at the same time. Just trying to get this up so I can start reading from there. This is another PDF. It's to do with child marriage. And as I said, unfortunately, it has all my details on it, so I can't share that with you, but it's basically like the last one. And we're going to go through this again. Again, this is showing you guys, again, that as soon as we read what was given to us, we will see that Islam cannot come from the same God of the Bible, because it's contradicting the God of the Bible. And anything that contradicts the Bible cannot come from God, because again, who is the Antichrist? This is the question that Muslims need to ask. Who is the Antichrist, and where do they go for the answers? Remember, Muhammad was told, if you are in doubt, go to the previous scriptures, and there you'll find your answers. And if we go to the previous scriptures, the Antichrist will be as clear as day. In 1 John 2:22, this is what it says. Who is the liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist, he who denies the Father and the Son. Because no one who denies the Son has the Father. Whoever confesses the Son has the Father also. So because of this verse, we can see that if anyone goes against what the Father and the Son say, the triune God, then they cannot be from the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They have to be outside of that. And it's only Satan that is outside going against what the Bible has given us. If the Quran is teaching us that there is no Father, there is no Son, then we know that is the Antichrist. And if the Quran is confirming this in its own doctrine, then we need to actually listen to what the Quran is teaching us. It's saying God is not a father. The Quran Bible is saying if anyone denies the Father and the Son, they are the Antichrist. So again, the Bible is our go-to, and the Bible is what we should be using, because the Bible is exposing these lies and liars. That's the craziness of this religion. The Bible is in plain sight. All we have to do is actually read it. Read and see what it actually says, because it's telling us who they are. You know, I was told by a smart person once, if someone tells you who they are, believe them. If you can see how people are, believe them, because that's who they are. This is what they're telling you. This is how they're behaving. They are the Antichrist, the one that goes against the Bible, that goes against the Father and the Son. Anyone that believes that that there's no Father and no Son, you can't trust them. But again, guys, as I said, you know, this is the second time I had to come on live, but I need to go. So let me get quickly now back to the Psalms. We're on Psalm 57. Psalm 57. My wife is away tomorrow morning, so yes, I am able to come live tomorrow. I am. So again, I'll be using this account because the next one comes back from Mecca on the 25th. That will be Tuesday. Monday. Psalm 57. Be merciful to me, O God, be merciful to me. For in you my soul takes refuge. In the shadow of your wings I take refuge, till the storms of destruction pass by. I cry out to God Most High, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. He will send from heaven and save me. He will put to shame him who tramples on me. For God will send out his steadfast love and his faithfulness. My soul is in the midst of the lions. I lie amid fiery beasts, the children of man whose teeth and spears and arrows, whose tongues are sharp swords. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let your glory be all over the earth. They set a net for my steps. My soul has bowed them. They dug a pit in my way, but they have fallen into themselves. My heart is steadfast, O God, my heart is steadfast. I will sing and make melody. Awake, my glory. Awake, O harp of lyre. I will awake the dawn. I will give thanks to you. O God, among the peoples, I will sing praises to you among the nations. For your steadfast love is great to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let your glory be all over the earth. Amen. Amen. Ling, I got to run, my man. You want to say anything before we leave?
Yeah, God bless you, James. Thanks again, brother. I love this topic. You gotta have a lot of information about it, and I'm just gonna continue to pray for you. And I love you, brother, and I look forward to working with you a lot in 2026. All right.
Amen. And the same from me, my man. I'm just, so glad that I'm blessed to have such a family of friends that support, love, and appreciate all the stuff that we all do together. And, together we are stronger. Iron sharpens iron. And because of that, we are able to present lives like these and, educate people with things that they once maybe never knew. So again, guys, all these lives are for educational purposes and to push you away from Satan, but closer to Christ.
And also pray for Iran, pray for Israel and Palestine, and let's make sure we support our brother today in his first formal debate, please. The Word and I believe it's on Modern Day Debate. He's going to do great. We have a lot of faith in him. Lift him up in prayer. God bless you guys.
For those that don't know, it's The Word and I. The Word and I. and I think it's Modern Day Debates. That's right, and we can go and see it and watch it there. Just keep paying attention. The Word and I. There should be more people advertising for this debate. It's going to be fun because the Word and I mean, this is like, you know, he's like the sniper. He just like rolls in, takes them out, and you know, I don't know the time, guys. Unfortunately, I can't remember the time. But Word and I, he's like the stealth guy. He goes in, does his damage, and he walks out head high. And Nadir is in for a whipping, an absolute whipping, absolute whipping. That's going to be fun. But I got to go. God bless you guys. Remember, humble yourselves, remove the hate, the pride, and the ego, put Christ first, and love your neighbors, but not in a Islamic way. God bless, guys. Take care.